if you were an attractive woman in 1996 and you bought a nice dress and you had a sick ass body and you wanted to show it off and you got your hair done, you had to go to a club. And in the club, you were going to drink alcohol and you were going to be exposed to high status men with broad shoulders and deep voices that were possibly going to eventually you go to the club over and over again, you're going to have sex with some of them.
Yeah.
What happened now is that these same women can get that same validation by using social media, and even more so, never leaving their house and then posting pictures on OnlyFans. Yeah. So now they're receiving the same validation, plus they're receiving money.
Right.
And now for them going to the club, they're losing money by going to the club. So now the guy who was able to pick up the girl before, he doesn't have any exposure to her whatsoever. And so now you get into a situation where there was this, I don't know how to explain it, but there was this group of men and group of women that were always going out as singles, and then they would occasionally hook up. And a lot of that has been dried out. You just don't see it as much. And we're seeing it in the numbers. There's this lowest third of men and lower third of women that are just having no sex at all. Not no sex, but like fewer than one partner a year. And so that's the thing that's going on, and we're starting to see it across the board. And it's what you would expect, right? If you don't live in Las Vegas, if you live in Des Moines, Iowa, and you get all your stimulation virtually through the internet, the likelihood of you having vaginal intercourse is just so insanely low that it just doesn't happen. And I know this because I was a U.S. military officer stationed in Wichita, Kansas, stationed in Altus, Oklahoma, stationed in Eielson, Alaska, and fucking Abu Dhabi, UAE. So like I've seen these austere places in like Qatar where it's just like you going out to pick up a girl that isn't a prostitute just doesn't happen. You know what I'm saying?
This is a little off subject, but since you mentioned it, because I just had this conversation with one of my best friends. She was in the military. And you hear this often where women in the military get sexually abused, get raped, and there's no justice behind that because, the military has their own police, law enforcement.
So there is, but you have to testify. So the problem is this, right? I don't know if I'm not going to say her name. She's been on a Sticky Paw show before. There is a girl who was an NCO in the Marine Corps, and she's a huge model now. She was a Playmate. But while she was in the Marine Corps, she was a top tier Marine. Had the record for most pull-ups as a woman. Her intention was to become an E9.
Nice.
Which is the highest enlisted rank. Okay. And while she was doing that, she was horribly sexually assaulted while she was there.
Exactly.
And when she reported her being sexually assaulted, one of the things that happened was the commandant of the Marine Corps actually had a conversation with her saying, we want to give you full benefits and 100% retirement if you leave now. And the reason why he had to do that was because if she stayed in, she is now the E7 who got raped. And that's too hard. Like for her command structure, the Marine Corps is not progressive enough to deal with that. The Marine Corps, to be fair, is not progressive enough to deal with homosexuals, to be fair. Like
that was a whole nother thing.
That is very true.
And maybe shouldn't have to be fair. Like I think the Air Force can deal with homosexuals. I just pissed off a bunch of people. But like in the Air Force, like, dude, you're working security forces or like you're fucking working in finance. Like nobody cares if you're gay, dude. You know what I'm saying? It's different. Like if my boom operator were gay, it makes no effect. It's no effect. But if you're a Marine and you're like forward deployed and you guys are naked around each other a lot, I can see how that may have some problem. You know what I'm saying? There's two issues, right? The initial issue was gays like on the front lines, which I don't know. I mean, I think maybe we've gotten past that. But the other idea was women on the front lines, and the problem was if one of the other men in the unit started sleeping with one of those women, would he be willing to do more to save her life than another one of his troops? That damages mission morale and discipline, and so that's why you didn't see that happening as much, or that's the reason why even right now women are not allowed on the frontline infantry.
But